Do you know, have you heard the news? Revolutionary Girl Utena is a show about consent. Anyone who's been around for a while knows that I've actually made a video about themes of consent in media. A few years ago, I made a video called Consent in Hero Literature, in which I used scenes from Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and Sir Gawain and the Green Knight to describe models of consent. The topics covered in that video are completely different from the ones we'll be talking about in this one, so don't worry about seeing that one first, but check it out if it sounds interesting to you. Consent is a topic I care a lot about, so of course I'm excited to get to cover it now that it's become a main and recurring theme of Revolutionary Girl Utena. I'm currently 6 episodes in as I'm writing this script, so I can't possibly comment on anything past this point, but there is already a lot to dive into. Let's start with our series protagonist, Utena. Utena didn't intend to be caught in this strange love triangle between herself, Anthy, and the student council, but now that she's won a duel over Wakaba's honor and as a consequence become engaged to the Rose Bride, she can't simply opt out of the engagement. The only way for Anthy to become engaged to someone else is for them to best Utena in a duel. This gives Utena some agency in whether or not she's engaged to the Rose Bride, because she can always forfeit a duel, like she considered doing in episode 2.
I've got it. I'll just lose, so there's no problem.
However, things get complicated by the fact that she's seen how other people treat Anthy when she's engaged to them, and Utena doesn't want that for her. Therefore, to save Anthy from abuse, she has to forfeit her own freedom to ensure Anthy's.
You didn't purposely lose the duel. It's not what you think. I did it for Choo-Choo. If you went back to Seonji, he'd just be mean to Choo-Choo.
Speaking of Anthy, Anthy is basically a case study in having no ability to consent. She seems to be cursed to be engaged to and obey the demands of whichever person happens to be the reigning champion duelist.
Why, Anthy? Why won't you do as I say?
I'm sorry, Seonji, but I'm engaged to Miss Utena now.
I don't understand. Didn't you devote yourself to me completely when we were engaged, Anthy?
Yes, but that's in the past. Our engagement is over now. Please, forget about me.
While breach of consent is easy to spot in someone who's forced to do something they don't want to do, it's less easy to notice when someone's situation does not allow for them to consent. Even if Anthy liked the person to whom she was currently engaged and also wanted to do the thing that they told her to do, she still couldn't meaningfully consent because there was never any other option for her. I'm reminded of other systems in which consent is not possible. For example, a relationship between a prisoner and a prison's staff. The power differential between the two is simply too great. Add in magical compulsion and you've got Anthy's situation. I assume that at some point it'll be explained why she's stuck in this situation, but for the time being, I have no idea why she has to do all this or even why she's the Rose Bride. Miki picks up on the systemic nature of her inability to make meaningful decisions for herself and takes action by suggesting that the student council be dissolved.
I propose the following: the dissolution of the student council.
This is sudden.
These duels to possess the Rose Bride are ridiculous. I can't just stand by and allow them to continue. No matter how great this power is we're supposed to get, I can't follow a system that robs Anthy Himamiya of her personal freedom.
This would free Anthy from being the Rose Bride and restore her autonomy to make choices for herself. This is the first truly systemic change proposed and may have freed her had Miki managed to dismantle the system, but as we'll see in just a minute, there's a reason he didn't pursue that too hard. What he tries next reveals that he's less interested in her ability to choose as he's interested in her ability to choose to be with him. He decides then that if he's not able to dismantle the system and have her choose to love him, he'll work within the system to win her love. She still has no choice, but he figures that as long as she can't choose the person to whom she's engaged, he can force her to be engaged to him.
Don't worry, I will protect your song, Anthy.
Thanks so much.
This is the epitome of control and the complete opposite of what he thinks he's doing. He genuinely thinks he's liberating her from Utena. Now, I mentioned a minute ago that Miki stopped trying to dismantle the student council. Well, here's why. The student council president, Toga, slept with his twin sister. They're just 13 years old. Obviously this is disgusting, but it's in the show, so let's talk about it. Kozue is shown fixing her tie as she walks out of the piano room.
The music room isn't just for playing the piano, you know, Miki.
Where we find Toga lounging with his jacket open and no shirt on.
Huh?
Good morning.
He's 17. I wonder what could have happened. The obvious piece here that lacks consent is the fact that he's so much older than her. I guess I don't know the age of consent laws in the country where they live, but I can't imagine they allow for a senior in high school to sleep with an 8th grader. Even if, for some reason, they allowed for 13-year-olds to have sex, it wouldn't make sense for them to be allowed to do it with someone that much older than them. The less obvious breach of consent is the fact that he slept with her not for her, but with the ulterior motive of threatening her brother Miki. He had been trying to dissolve the student council to free Anthy from her role as the Rose Bride, and Toga, the president of the student council, did this as revenge.
Unless you are willing to fight for the precious things that you desire, people will take them away from you, Miki. Even if the student council were dissolved, someone who wanted the Rose Bride could not compete for her.
It's a little unclear how much of this plan Kozue knows because it's not directly addressed, but I don't get the sense that she knew the extent of how she was being used to manipulate Miki, which means that she can't consent to being used to manipulate him. Our next and final character for this video, Nanami, is also used to explore the boundaries of informed consent. In episode 6, Nanami describes having recently been the victim of several murder attempts, each of which could be brushed off as an accident, but which altogether seem more deliberate.
Someone's trying to kill you?
Yeah, and this isn't the first time. A flower pot nearly fell on me and some logs fell near me and I almost fell down a staircase.
Her brother, Toga, brushes this off.
If you want my advice, I think you should stop reading so many detective novels, Nanami.
Which she takes to mean that he's the one behind the murder attempts. She's saved by a 10-year-old whom she starts dating and taking advantage of in a lot of kind of cruel ways, including having him defend her against 3 attackers. Your first thought is probably that this is a dynamic similar to that between Toga and Kozue. An older student is taking advantage of a younger student who doesn't know any better. However, this isn't the case. In this case, the younger student is the one who manipulated the older student. He put her in danger so that he could save her and play the hero. He was the one who kept the wool over her eyes and kept her from being able to meaningfully consent to a relationship of any kind.
Wait just a minute.
Yes?
You mean you were the one behind the flower pot falling and the logs falling and what happened on the stairs?
Yeah, so I could save her in the nick of time.
Taken as a whole, Revolutionary Girl Utena is very nuanced and intentional about the things it says about consent. It approaches the concept from a starting place of personal autonomy, then explores all the ways that personal autonomy might be limited. Some characters find themselves in arrangements they didn't want to be in. Others are cursed to have their personal freedoms curtailed. Still more feel pressure because of a difference in age or positions of power or information being kept from them. All of these dynamics limit a person's freedom, and it makes it difficult, if not impossible, for them to consent. Because this has become such an all-encompassing theme of the show, I can only assume that it'll continue to be elaborated upon in later episodes and later seasons of the show.